Good afternoon, all participants. I welcome all of you again on the 6th day workshop in Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence, organized by Chalapati Institute of Engineering and Technology. I am Arpit Yadav. I hope that you people are doing well and safe with your family during this pandemic situation. From the last 4 days, we have gone through the concept of machine learning. Yesterday, we have gone through the very basic overview of deep learning. What is the roadmap of learning the deep learning? Today, we are going to learn one project from scratch by doing the artificial neural network. We are designing one ANN today. How we are going to design that artificial neural network from scratch by taking one problem statement that we are going to learn. And today, before for the practical session, I would give a short overview about how our perceptron is working in case of weight and biases. Because weight and biases are the hero of the neural network. Why it is the hero, I will let you know. So yesterday, what we did, yesterday we have gone through the basic overview of artificial intelligence and deep learning, motivation behind that. After that, we have gone through the machine learning relationship between artificial intelligence, deep learning, and machine learning. Then we came to know about the what is artificial intelligence. It is a machine which behave like human. Then elements of AI is included natural language processing and computer vision. Then we came to know machine learning from the last 4 days, learning from the past data and predicting for future data. Then yesterday we gone through the deep learning, that is a complete study of neural network, demand of AI because huge volume of data available with every company in the market. Everything we have gone through yesterday, types of AI, strong AI, weak AI, and super intelligence. And finally, we came to know about the deep learning process, which is inspired from the
Arpit sir,
biological neuron, and scientist has made.
hello.
Yes,
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
hello, yes.
Sir, your
My
voice
voice
is
is
breaking.
breaking. Okay, okay. Just give me a second. Now it's audible.
No, sir. Now also it is breaking.
Hello. Now also it is breaking.
Now it
Okay,
is okay.
just a second. Now it is okay. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you,
Now
sir.
it is
Thank you.
okay.
So yesterday, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yesterday we have gone through the deep learning concept. Deep learning concept is inspired from biological neuron and how biological neuron is working. From that concept, we inspired the deep learning concept, and the scientist has made the one artificial neuron that is called as perceptron in the world of deep learning. And the working of perceptron is very important because by knowing the one working of perceptron, then you are going for the multi-layer perceptron and designing the neural network. So today we will observe how the perceptron is working mathematically. Now let's go through the perceptron working. Yesterday, this is the biological neuron diagram where three important parameters are there. That is the cell body, dendrite, and axon. Dendrite is receiving the signal from other neuron. Cell body is doing the functionality of that overall received signal, that is sum of all input. And finally, axon is transmitting the signal to the other neuron. So that is the functionality of artificial neuron, that is sorry, biological neuron. Now on the basis of this neuron, we have developed the artificial neuron that is called as perceptron. So in this perceptron, you observe the thing that we are having the input ranges from x1 and so on, and to every input we are assigning the weight to that. We are assigning the weight to every input. Input is multiplied by a weight plus second input is multiplied by the respective weight and so on, and this weighted body is doing the sum of all this product, and finally it is giving the activation function. Activation is function is for non-linearity purpose, and then finally output is given to the other neurons, that is other artificial neural network. How this process is going on, let's see. So this is the artificial neuron. With the help of this biological neuron, we are making this concept where all the input is multiplied with the respective weights, and after that it is given to the y body where it is getting summed together, and depending on that process we are passing the output. Now how we are passing the output, let's see one case study. In the perceptron there are four parameter very important, that is called as the input parameter, weight and biases, sum body, and activation function. Now let's see the working of all this process by with the help of very good example. That example is like this. I'm coming to that. Yeah. So we want to understand the working of perceptron with the help of this objective. That is, we want to purchase one shirt with blue color, full sleeves, and that fabric of the shirt should not be cotton. That is our objective. Again, I am repeating, we are understanding the working of perceptron with the help of this example. where we have to purchase one shirt. That shirt should be blue in color, it should be full sleeves, and it should not be a cotton fabric. And if all objective is matched, then you are going to purchase one shirt. So we are applying this example to the perceptron. So we are solving this example with the help of perceptron working. How we are going to predict that we are going to purchase the shirt or not on the basis of given combination. So what we are doing, we are having the three input variable. One input variable is for color, one input variable is for sleeves, and one input variable for fabric. If the color of the shirt is blue, then that respective input is 1. Here three inputs we are assigning, x1, x2 and x3. Three input we are assigning x1, x2, x3, where x1 is the color, x2 is the sleeves, and x3 is the fabric. X1 is the color input. If the color is blue, then x1 is 1. Or if the color is not blue, x1 will be 0. Similarly, if the x2 variable, if the shirt is full sleeves, then it is 1. If the shirt is half sleeves, it is 0. And the third, similarly, if the fabric of the shirt is cotton, then x3 is 1. And if the fabric is not cotton, it is 0. So like that, we are assigning the binary variable to all three input x1, x2, x3. And depending on this process, we are summing together all the process to this body. That is called as a sum body. And we are applying one threshold here. And here 7, 4, 2 are nothing but a weight assigned to every input. And this weight number decide that which input is highest. Here 7 is assigned to color. So majority of time we are purchasing the shirt because we like the color of the shirt. And the second process is given to the sleeves, full sleeves or half sleeves and so on. This is a research work. That means that can be changed. But here we are assigning the weight to all input. 7 weight is assigned to input x1, 4 weight is assigned to input x2, 2 weight is assigned to input x3. Now what we are doing, we are assigning one threshold value also here. What do you mean by threshold? I will let you know. So what we are doing here, x1 is get multiplied with 7. So 7x1, 4 is multiplied with x2. So 4x2 and 2 is get multiplied with x3. So 2x3. So sum together 7x1 plus 4x2 plus 2x3. That is our equation. If the value of this equation 7x1 plus 4x2 plus 2x3, we will get one number, and if that number is greater than 8, if that number is greater than 8, that is this threshold, you are going to buy the shirt. Or if that number is less than 8, you are not going to buy the shirt. So now let's understand the working here. Now we are having this table available with us. What we are doing, we are giving the following combination. If the color in first row, if the color of the shirt is blue, then x1 is 1. x1 is 1. In the second column, sleeves is there, and in the third column, fabric is there. So observe the first row. Observe the first row. First row is a blue color shirt, half sleeves and non-cotton. So what will happen? Color is blue, then x1 is 1. So 7 into 1 plus, if the sleeves is half, then x2 will be 0. So 4 into 0 plus 4 into 0. And fabric is non-cotton, then it is 0. So 2 into 0. So 7 into 1 plus 4 into 0 plus 2 into 0 is equal to 7. And you compare that 7 with threshold. So 7 is less than threshold. So you are not going to buy the shirt. Because why you are not going to buy the shirt? Because sleeves is half here. Our objective is that we want a shirt with a blue color, full sleeves and non-cotton fabric. So in the first row, we are not going to purchase the shirt. This is our prediction because of the available data. Now let's see the second row. In the second row, our color of the shirt is blue. Hence, x1 is 1, sleeves is full, x2 is 1, and fabric is non-cotton. Then x3 is 1. Then you are calculating all this process. Sorry, x3 is 0. Fabric is non-cotton, then x3 is 0. Then multiply with this 7 into 1, 7 plus 4 into 1, 4, 7 plus 4, 11 and plus 2 into 0, 0. So 7 plus 4, 11. So we are getting 11 as a sum. Now you compare that 11 with the threshold. 11 is greater than threshold. Now you are going to buy the shirt. So what was our objective? Our objective is that we are going to buy the shirt only on one condition: if the shirt is blue color, full sleeves and non-cotton fabric. And in the second row, it is satisfying the condition that color is a blue, sleeves is full and fabric is non-cotton. At that time, see the output, you are buying the shirt. You are buying the shirt. Now similarly on the third row, if the color is not blue, so x1 is 0. So 7 into 0 plus sleeves is full, x2 is 1. So plus 4 into 1. and last fabric is cotton, x3 is 1. So 2 into 1. So here 7 into 0 is 0, plus 4 into 1 is plus 4, plus 2 into 1 is plus 2. So 7 into 0 is 0. So 0 plus 4 plus 2. You are getting 6 value here. Now you are comparing with threshold. Finally, this value is less than threshold. You are not going to buy the shirt. So it is clear indication that perceptron or neural network or deep learning world is totally dependent on your value of weight and biases. So here we are understanding the weight meaning. So it is totally depending on your value of weight, and that weight is deciding your prediction. So always remember, please note down in the notebook, in the world of deep learning, weight is the important parameter, and the value of weight is deciding your prediction. Always remember. So this is the weight here. So our objective was accomplished. On the second row, where we are having the total value 11, which is satisfying our condition that color of the shirt is blue, sleeves is full, and fabric is non-cotton, and we are deciding overall condition on the basis of this weight value 742, and we are giving to the threshold. So in this way we are doing that. We can change the value of threshold also. We can change the value of threshold to a 16, and we can change the weight here 863 and so on. So this is the neural network working. We are keep updating the weight of the value in the neural network. We are updating the value of weight, and depending on the value of weight, we are doing the prediction. If the prediction is not coming good, again we are changing the value of weight with the help of gradient descent. Yesterday we have shown one process to you, that in the multiple layer perceptron we are doing forward propagation and backward propagation. Whenever we are doing the backward propagation, we are changing the value of weight, that is reducing the error. So that is the meaning of weight value. We are updating the value of weight for doing the correct prediction. Now you can also solve this diagram. Please take the screenshot if it is possible, and solve this case of my webinar. That is, this is the case where the value of weight is changed. Now value of weight is 863 and the threshold is 16. So in this way we can go ahead for the process. Now finally, here we have studied only with the help of weight. Biases we have not added yet. What do you mean by bias there? Now what we are doing, we are removing that binary restriction. We are removing the binary restriction that yes or no by addition of some term. Now what is that addition of some? That is some that I will let you know. So here up to this we understood one process very clearly, multiplying it each input by its respective weight, and sum together all input with the respective weight, and we are going to check with the threshold. If our sum value is greater than threshold, then it is 1. If our sum value is less than threshold, then it is 0. So that is the working till now we have studied. But now let's study the meaning of bias. What do you mean by bias in the world of neural network? Bias in the world of neural network is similar to the intercept in the world of linear equation. In the linear equation, we are adding y is equal to mx plus b, where b is the intercept. If you are putting the value of b equal to 0, the equation will become y is equal to mx, which is the linear equation line passing from the origin. And if you are adding the bias, then that line is not passing through the origin. Similarly, in the world of neural network, we are adding the bias. Bias is nothing but it is the additional parameter, that is a constant value we are adding to the weighted sum. In the previous diagram, we are doing the weighted sum, that is x1 w1 plus x2 w2 plus x3 w3 and so on, and all this sum of product we are adding to the bias, and that bias is the constant term. So bias is shifting your activation function. Always remember, this is again one interview question. Why we are using the bias in the world of neural network? By adding the bias as a constant to your weighted sum, that is x1 w1 plus x2 w2 and so on. After adding the bias, it is going to shift the activation function. So finally, bias is nothing but one constant value which is helping us for building such a model which is fitting for all the data. That is the bias. So that diagram is changes now in this fashion. Now what we are doing, we are adding one bias. Now you can see the equation here, two equation is there. In this diagram, above one diagram we are observing where bias is not available. That is our previous diagram. That is x1 w1 plus x2 w2 plus x3 w3 are summed together, and we are checking that value is greater than threshold or not. If it is greater than threshold, then output is 1. If it is less than threshold, output is 0. Now what we are doing, we are bringing that threshold to the left hand side. That is, threshold is also a constant term. In the previous diagram, you have observed our threshold was 8. So we are bringing that threshold to the left hand side, and our equation become like this. W1 x1 plus W2 x2 and so on plus bias. And finally, this we are checking with the help of this equation. If our overall term is less than 0, then output is 0. If our overall term is greater than or equal to 0, then output is 1. That is the bias we are using in the world of artificial intelligence and deep learning. So this bias is adding, and after adding the bias, we are giving to the activation functions. And there are so many activation functions. Yesterday I have shown you. One of the activation function is the step activation function. So what we are doing, that we are having the mathematical equation of step activation function, put all this value w1 x1 plus w2 x2 and so on plus bias to the step function, that is the activation function, and whatever the value will be there, this graph will be available. So that is the meaning of step activation function. Similarly, this is the meaning of sigmoid activation function. Similarly, do one thing, that whatever the neural network is present, w1 x1 plus w2 x2 plus w3 x3, sum together, add the bias in that, you will get one number. Finally, this one number, that one number we are putting in the mathematical equation of the respective activation function, and you are getting finally some value, and that value will be a non-linear value. Whenever we are adding the activation function in the world of neural network, the activation function brings the non-linearity in the network. So that is the meaning of perceptron working, guys. This is a sigmoid activation function we are using in the world of neural network, which is bringing the non-linearity in the function. So I am not going into the mathematically, just understand one process, how the perceptron is working and how important the value of weight and biases are there in the world of deep learning for deciding the prediction. So this is the concept that I want to tell you today. Just on the basis of weight value and the biases value, all prediction in the world of deep learning is decided. And finally, your objective in the world of deep learning is only one. You have to find those value of weight and biases, that perfect value of weight and biases. For that value of weight and biases, your prediction is good. Okay, so finally, what is your objective? You are finding finally those values of weight and biases. On that values of weight and biases, your prediction is higher. That is without less, means with less error and higher accuracy. That is your overall objective of the perceptron working. Now, on the basis of this process of perceptron, and yesterday we have gone for the multi-layer perceptron also, because our drawback of perceptron is that single perceptron cannot handle the complex problem. And yesterday we have gone through this multi-layer perceptron working, where in the multi-layer perceptron we are having the 3-layer compulsory input layer, middle layer and output layer. And in each layer we are having the neuron. Here each circle is one neuron, one perceptron. Here each circle is one perceptron. By combining the all perceptron together, we are forming the multi-layer perceptron. That is the meaning of this. And today we are going to solve one project with the help of this multi-layer perceptron, that is called as the artificial neural network. And that project we are going to solve from scratch. Now we are going to decide, and we are designing one project today. That project is from very scratch, and that project is name is, we are going to build or design one artificial neural network, that is multi-layer perceptron, for classification task. And that task is, we want to predict breast cancer. If the patient is having the breast cancer or not, we are going to predict that, and we are going to design artificial neural network, that is called as multi-layer perceptron from scratch. So what I said, what is multi-layer perceptron? In the multi-layer perceptron, we are having 3 layers. That is one input layer, hidden layer and output layer. Okay, so this is the one diagrammatical representation. This is called as a multi-layer perceptron. In this multi-layer perceptron, we are having 3 layers. One is the input layer. In the input layer, total number of neurons are 3. So these are the 3 neurons. In the hidden layer, total number of neurons are 4. So we are writing here in the hidden layer, total number of hidden neurons are 4. And in the output layer, total number of neurons are 2. So in the output layer, we are having only 2 neurons, and each circle, each neuron is one perceptron, we can say. Indirectly, we can say one perceptron. So this is the multi-layer perceptron. Just one diagram I am showing. Similarly, the second diagram also we can design. This is the second diagram. Again, this is the multi-layer perceptron having the input layer, 2 hidden layer and 1 output layer. In the input layer, total number of neurons are 3. In the hidden layer 1, total number of neurons are 4. In the hidden layer 2, total number of neurons are again 4. And in the output layer, here neuron is 1 now. So in this way, we can design infinite number of architecture using the multi-layer perceptron. And this architecture is also called as the artificial neural network. This architecture is also called as the artificial neural network, where The total number of hidden layer is decided by us. We user can decide that. You can add another hidden layer here, and the total number of neurons in per hidden layer. For example, here in the hidden layer 1, there are total 4 neurons. That is also decided by user. That means we people in the company. So this is called as a research work. You just add your 6 neuron in the hidden layer 1 and check the output. If your output is coming perfect, then it is good. If it is not coming perfect, then changes the structure of your artificial neural network. And then you can go ahead for designing the further process. So that is the world of artificial neural network using the multi-layer perceptron. And today we are going to design one architecture for the classification task. And task is that we have to predict whether the patient is having the breast cancer or not. Whether the patient is having breast cancer or not. So in the world of machine learning, I have explained you one process that if the output is discrete in nature, yes, no, okay, then true or false, 0 or 1, and so on, then that type of problem is called as the classification problem. Hence the heading is written here, classification task. If, for example, if our output is not discrete in nature, continuous in nature, so instead of classification, you will see the regression analysis. So that is the process we are doing in the world of machine learning and deep learning. So what we will do today, we are going to design one architecture of artificial neural network from scratch, and we will see the problem of breast cancer prediction. Breast cancer prediction, and we are using all this instruction. I will explain this process stepwise. Don't worry. I am going to explain this process stepwise. Only one expectation is there. The participant, those who are very new to the world of deep learning, might be instruction you will not understand. Just follow my words, because whenever you will enter into the world of deep learning, such type of instruction will come in front of you. The experienced candidate, those who are listening this webinar or this workshop, just follow the concept in the very sequence wise, so that you are having the better understanding. Now let's see. First instruction, we are importing import warnings. Import warnings is going to ignore your warnings if any warning is coming in our project during execution. Okay. Now here today we are executing this overall project in the Jupyter notebook, because total number of data set is very less. That's book in my computer only. If your data set is more, then we can run the same Jupyter notebook with the help of Google Colab. Okay. Right now I am running this Jupyter notebook in my computer system only. So the first instruction is import warning. After importing warning, we are filtering the warning. Ignore any warning is coming in our execution or not. If it is coming, so ignore that. That is the meaning of that line. Now we are going to import our breast cancer data set directly from sklearn library. We are having one sklearn library in the world of data science, and in that library we are having ready-made data set available, that is a breast cancer data set. So with the help of this instruction, we are going to import that breast cancer data set. So after executing this line, our data set has been stored. That means it is imported. And whatever the data set is stored, we are putting that data set into this variable called vol_data. After importing the data set, in this line, what we are doing, the load breast cancer data set, we are giving to the variable vol_data. Now execute this line. After executing this line, I already said that in our data, always remember, in the past data, if the output is given, then it is a supervised learning. So here in the cancer patient data also, the past data, that is load breast cancer, that data set is having input and output both. So what we are doing, we are separating the input and output. We are giving the all input variable to the x_data, and we are giving output variable to the y_data with the help of this instruction. In our complete data set vol_data, we are giving that input to the x_data and output to y_data. So right now we are separating the input and output with the help of this process. And finally, in our data set, we are having the column name also. As I said, column is also available. That is which feature is what. So we are giving the feature name. Feature is always called as column. Please note down. Whenever you will encounter such word feature engineering, indirectly you are going to do the column engineering. That means column name. So we are giving column name to the COLS variable with the help of this instruction. So after executing this, all the column name is appear in the COLS. Now we are going to import the pandas library with this instruction, import pandas as PD, and we are converting whatever the previous data set available, we are converting that data set into data frame. So first we are going to check the input data frame. X underscore data is having all input value along with the column, and we are converting to the data frame with the help of this instruction pd.data frame, and we are giving overall data to data variable. Now in the next line we are going to observe data.head. What is the meaning of data.head? We are going to observe the first 5 rows of your input variable. We are going to observe first 5 rows of our input variable. So after executing this, we are having the first 5 rows. Now this data set is the breast cancer data set. Here we will not understand anything because we don't know how the breast cancer is happening. So all this variable, mean symmetry, mean concave point, mean concatenity, we don't know anything. So for this purpose, here at this point, we require the domain expert. Remember guys, please note down. If we are not understanding anything, what is the objective of that column, what is the meaning of that column, why the breast cancer is happening, so because of which column breast cancer is totally dependent, we don't know anything. So at this process, we require the help of domain expert. Note down, because we are not an expert. We are not an expert of medical industry. So we are taking the help of domain expert. And that domain expert is a doctor, and doctor is guiding us that which column is important for predicting the breast cancer. Note down. Okay. So here with the help of this instruction, we are observing all the input variable. And we came to know that in the total process, we are having the 30 column. Here it is written 30 column. So all the total number of input columns are 3030. Okay. And after that, similarly, we are giving our output data, that is y underscore data, to this new column. We are creating your new column with the help of this instruction. Data is our data frame name. This is the data frame. And to this data frame, we are adding the output column with the name class, here. Because here, whatever we observed, this is only input. In this data frame, output is not available. Only input. Now, if you want to add the output is in data frame, we are adding with this process data class. Output variable we are giving to the class column, and after executing this, now output is available in the class column. One column has been created in the previous data set, that is a class, and in that class column we are having output. Now again we are executing this data frame, that is data.head, and if you observe in this, now in the last class column is added. See here, in the last class column is added, that is your output variable. And in the output variable, there are only 2 types of value, that is 0 and 1. If the value of class is 0, then that respect to patient is not having breast cancer. And if the value of that class variable is 1, then that respect to patient is having the breast cancer. This is the past data available with us. So in this past data, now here total number of column is 31 now, because we have added one output column. And in the total number of 31 column, 30 columns are input and 1 column is output. So on the basis of 30 input characteristics, that characteristics is deciding that patient is having cancer or not, and we are writing in the output column as a 0 and 1. So this is the past data characteristics. So if you want to know how many unique values are present in the output column, we are using this instruction data.class. Data is your data frame name, class is your output column name, and unique value means it is going to give all the unique value of your class variable, that is output variable. After executing this, you will come to know only 2 values, 0 and 1. That means in the output column, there are only 2 values. Either the value is 0 or either the value is 1. We have checked right now with the help of this instruction. So 0 and 1 indicating that if the value is 0, patient is not having breast cancer. And if the value is 1, patient is having breast cancer. So this is the process. And finally, when our complete data set is ready, now we are dividing our data set into training and testing portion. With the help of this instruction, or from sklearn.model selection, sklearn is the library, and we are importing this package train underscore test underscore split. It is done automatically. Now after executing this, and we are applying this train underscore test underscore split to our input and output variable x underscore data and y underscore data, and we are splitting with one formula 70-30. If the test size is 0.30, it indicates that in the testing data, total number of data is going 30%. 0.3 means 30%. There are 2 rules, either 80-20 or 70-30. So in this, we are dividing the data set into 70-30. 70% of data is going for training purpose and 30% of data is going for testing purpose. So execute this line. After executing this line, it is taking care automatically that sklearn library, it is dividing the data into training and testing into the 70-30 ratio. So up to this point, we have read the data set, we have observed the input variable, output variable, and we have split the data set into training and testing. Now our major portion is starting from here. After splitting the data, if you want to check the shape, how many total rows are available in the training data and how many total rows are available in the testing data, just execute this instruction, shape instruction. It is going to give that in your training data set, X train, 398 rows are there and 30 columns are there. In the testing data set, X test, you are having 171 rows and 30 columns. Similarly, in the output column, that is Y underscore train, 398 rows and 1 column because output is always 1, and Y underscore test, that is 171 rows and 1 column because output is always 1. So in this way, we are checking the shape of training and testing data set. Now from here, our designing process of artificial neural network start. Note down, this is the step of designing artificial neural network. Whenever we are going to design neural network, we are following these steps. First, we are going to design and create the model. Model means we are going to design the architecture. And in the previous slide, that means in this process today, in the starting of this Jupyter notebook, this is called as the architecture. I told you, this is called as the architecture. So the first step, we are going to design this architecture in the world of ANN. So that is called as the create a model. So that step I'm teaching you right now. We are going to design the architecture, that is create a model. After designing the architecture, we are going to compile the model. Compile meaning is that after designing the architecture, what should be the accuracy value, loss value, what should be the optimizer, that we are going to design at the compile level. Then fit model means here in this fit model concept, we are giving our training data for training the purpose. That means in the fit model concept, our neural network is going to learn from the data. That is a fit model. After learning the data, neural network is going to evaluate that model, whether the model is working properly or not. And finally, we are doing the prediction. So this is the designing step of any artificial neural network. Now we are going for designing the neural network practically. So here we are going to use the Keras and TensorFlow library. Yesterday I have shown you one library package, that is framework in the world of ANN. And I said you, if you are having the knowledge of Keras and TensorFlow also, then you people are job ready. So we are going to import this overall process with the help of Keras library. So here we are using the Keras. You have to install first the Keras library if it is not installed. So import the Keras library first, and we are going to build a sequential model. Remember yesterday, I have shown you two types of model, sequential model and functional model. So we are going to design a sequential model. Okay, we are going to design the sequential model. What is the meaning of sequential model? In the architecture, this layer, input layer, is connected to all the neuron of the hidden layer 1. In this architecture, hidden layer 1, all the neurons are connected to the next hidden layer neurons. So this is called a sequential stacking, layer by layer stacking. That is called as a sequential in nature. And one thing you can observe, all the input layer is connected to all the hidden layer neuron. Similarly, all the neuron of hidden layer 1 is connected to all the neuron of hidden layer 2. But neuron in the input layer is not connected with each other. The neuron in the hidden layer is not connected with each other. Only I am talking about this 4 neuron. That 4 neuron is not connected with each other, but it is connected to the next neuron of the hidden layer. That is the meaning of sequential stacking, and we are going to design that process. So always remember, there are two types of model, sequential model or functional model. So for sequential model, we are designing the process and we are importing the sequential package from Keras library. So execute this line. After executing this line, that model has been imported, and we are giving the sequential modeling to this variable called model. Very important. We are giving that sequential modeling package to the variable called model. Execute this line. Now the model is available. Now we are going to design the layers. We are going to design the layers. Now here layers are there. From Keras library, we are going to import again two types of package, that is activation function and dense. Dense is one type of layer. Dense is one type of layer. So import this. After importing from the Keras library, now here designing process is going on. Model.add, you are designing the first layer, that is called as a dense layer. In the dense layer, this 10 neurons we are adding. The meaning of 10 means in the first input layer, total number of neurons will be here 10. Total number of neuron will be 10. And one more process, in the input shape, here it is written 30. Why it is written 30? This number is totally depend on your total number of input column. In our problem statement, total number of input columns are 30. These are the features. In the world of ANN, all columns are called as features. As I already told you, features means column. So total number of columns or total number of feature in our data set is 30, 30. So that input shape we are giving here 30. So the total number of neuron in the input layer will be 30. Please note down, total number of neuron in the input layer will be 30, and we are giving that input layer connected to the first hidden layer. That is first hidden layer where 10 neurons are available. First hidden layer. This is the designing process. After designing the first hidden layer in this way, model.add, add the dense layer. First hidden layer is having total number of neuron 10, and that total number of neuron 10 is getting the input from 30 neuron from the input layer. This is the meaning. In the input shape, here we are writing 30. So at the input side, I am explaining from this diagram, from according to our data set, total number of neuron in this layer, input layer, is 30. That all 30 neurons we are giving to the first hidden layer, and in our data set or in our architecture we are giving 10 neurons here, 10, total number of neuron 10. So that is the meaning of this. We are giving the 10 neurons here. Okay, after giving the total number of neuron and hidden layer, in the first hidden layer we are giving activation function as the ReLU. So we are writing like this: model.add activation function ReLU. So this is the designing of input layer and first hidden layer. This selected portion means input layer is designed and first hidden layer is designed. Total number of neuron in the input layer is 30, and total number of neuron in the first hidden layer is 10, and the activation function is ReLU. Now we are designing this second layer, that is called the second hidden layer. In the second hidden layer also we are writing 10 number. So 10 means again 10 neurons are there in the hidden layer 2. In the hidden layer 2 there are 10 neurons, and the activation function is ReLU. Again we are designing one more hidden layer, and total number of neurons in the hidden layer is 10 again. So it indicating that we are designing here 3 hidden layer, and all hidden layer is having 10 neurons. And activation function is ReLU. And finally, we are having the one output layer, that is called as a dense layer, because here having the one output that is going to decide whether the patient is having the breast cancer or not. So we are adding the one output layer. Dense one means one output, one neuron at the output layer. And to that output layer, the activation function is sigmoid. Sigmoid is called as the binary classification activation function. Either 0 and 1, then you can use the sigmoid function. And softmax is the another activation function. Whenever we are having more than 2 category in the output, then you can go for softmax. But right now in our problem statement, it is the binary classification, whether the patient is having breast cancer or not, yes, no, then we are writing the sigmoid. So this is the designing. This designing is done by user. We can do anything. We can add one more hidden layer if you wish. So that is designed now with the help of this coding, and this is called as this diagram. So in our process, what we did, 30 input neuron, because 30 input columns are there, we have designed 3 hidden layer of 10 neurons, is 10 neuron in hidden layer 1, 10 neuron in hidden layer 2, and 10 neuron in hidden layer 3. Just assume that. And after that, in the output, we are having 1 neuron, and we have designed with the help of this process. This is called as that process. Understood? So this is very simple. Go stepwise. We are designing the ANN from scratch, and if this alternative option to this coding is this, we can write down the activation function in the same line also. This one is there. This is the alternative option of coding. That means instead of writing the activation function in the next line, here we are writing the activation function in the next line. we can add the activation function in the same line like this. Model dot add dense layer is the first hidden layer having the 10 neuron, taking the input from the input layer having the 30 neuron, and the activation function is ReLU in the hidden layer. And one more thing to note down, please note down, very important. Majority time in the hidden layer activation functions are ReLU because ReLU is having many advantages. Okay, and in the output layer we are not using ReLU. In the output layer majority time we are using the softmax and sigmoid. Please note down, majority time activation function in the hidden layer is ReLU, and output function hidden layer is sorry, in the output hidden layer activation function is softmax and sigmoid. Okay, so in this way also we can design our process. After designing our process we are going for model compilation. What do you mean by model compilation? In the model compilation, whenever after we are executing the overall code and we are processing the data to our architecture, so we are having the classification problem. And always remember, those who are having the knowledge of this world, classification problem evaluation matrix is always accuracy, and in the regression problem evaluation matrix is loss. Okay, so error in the regression problem. In this problem statement, our problem statement is the classification, so our evaluation matrix is accuracy. Okay, we are going to observe the binary cross entropy loss, and our optimizer is SGD. Might be possible to the fresher candidate this word you will not understand. Don't worry, because in the single time of explanation you will not understand anything, but you can note down this process. I am explaining in the most easy way that compilation process means what. Whenever we are going to process our data through the architecture, then this overall technique is come into the picture, and we are going to evaluate our data set with the help of accuracy matrix. We are going to evaluate the loss with the help of binary cross entropy loss, and SGD is the optimizer. So we are importing this optimizer from the Keras library, and we are giving this optimizer as the Adam optimizer. Adam optimizer is used for optimizing the weight and biases. Please note down, as I said, today's in the working of perceptron, weight and biases are the main hero of prediction, because our overall objective is that we have to find such value of weight and biases. On that value of weight and biases, your prediction is higher. So that is decided by this all optimizer, and we are going to give in the model compilation. So this is the meaning of that model compilation. So after giving the overall process, just execute this line. Now we have given the model compilation also, and finally you can take the summary of your model or your architecture designed right now. So after executing this, we are having this model summary now. Okay, it is showing error because I haven't run the model. Just a second, I want to run from starting all the process. So if you are getting the error, run from the starting. So in this way we can run the process. So what we did, we have studied the data set, we have studied the input variable, output variable, and we have given the overall process to this. And after that we are running this overall model compilation. Now see, error is not there because I have executed from starting. Now this is the model summary. Now model summary is available in the front of you. Here the 310 is the total number of trainable parameter, and always remember, total number of trainable parameter is nothing but weight and biases. This all number shown here is the total number of trainable parameter. And how it is coming, 310. See, in the first hidden layer your total number of neurons is 10. In our architecture, total number of neuron is 10, and in the input layer total number of neuron is 330, and every neuron is having the weight associated with that. Means in the 30 neuron, first neuron is having the weight W1, second neuron is having the weight W2. So we are having the 30 weight. When we are multiplying the 30 to 10 and we are adding the 10 biases in that, so that is a 310 total number of parameter in the hidden layer 1. In the hidden layer 1, total number of parameters are 310. 30 multiplied by 10 plus 10 plus 10 means biases, so it is 310. Like that this number is coming. So this is the model summary. Model summary is giving the information that in your total architecture how many trainable parameters are available. So it is showing 541. 541 means in your architecture total number of weight and biases addition is 541. So there that you are going to train. So total number of weight value and the biases value is 541, and that values of weight and biases is going to design your prediction. So that is the meaning of model.summary. So after this process, finally we are going to fit the model because we are following this structure. What is that structure? This one. First create the model, then compile the model, then feed the model. So third is fitting the model. So third process, fitting the model, means training the algorithm. So here we are writing model.fit, and we are giving only training data set to the model, because model is always getting training from training data set. So this is a training data set. Model.fit training data set. And here this word batch size 10, epoch equal to 50. What do you mean by epoch? Epoch means what? In from total data set. How many data set is available? The volume of that data set. Whenever the first time we are processing the overall data set, forward propagation and backward propagation, that is one epoch. Now in the second time, whenever we are doing the forward propagation and backward propagation, that is the second epoch. That is the meaning of epoch. And if I will run this model.fit here, it will take time to train the algorithm, because always remember, in the deep learning, training time is more. Yesterday I have shown you that in the deep learning, training time is more. If your data set is more, might be possible it will take 6 hours of also training time. In the company, I would like to say one thing. In the company, whenever we are running the deep learning architecture on the billion data set, so 4 days training is going on. Can you imagine 4 days with the high computational capacity? So if I will run this, so it will going to take some time. So that's what I am not running this. So what is the meaning of this after training this? So in the first epoch, epoch number 1, whenever complete data set is going forward propagation, we are having one value, prediction value. That prediction value is compared with the actual value, we are having the loss. So that value of loss it is showing here. And whenever we are going for the backward propagation, so it is going to change the weight and biases, and finally prediction is there. So in the first epoch, we are having the loss of the algorithm 10.204, and our accuracy is 36 only, very low. That we can change because it is a hyperparameter tuning. In the second epoch, again our loss is 10 and accuracy is 36. So we can observe that after running the 50 epoch, we are observing the accuracy of model, and our accuracy model is constant, 36 only. It is not changing, and loss is also around constant. So we can say that our model is having the final accuracy of, after last epoch, 36%, and loss is 10. So that is called as a training purpose. That is a training accuracy it is showing here, training accuracy. Now finally, when we want to check and evaluate our model that our model is working properly or not, so we are going to evaluate the model on the testing data. Always remember. So here you are using model.evaluate x test and y test. So we are going to evaluate that, and after evaluating, we are going to do a prediction now. And always remember, for the prediction, test data set is given. Training and testing, two data set are available, and for the prediction we are giving the testing data set, and we are giving this data set model.predict x test, and whatever the prediction is available on x test, that is available on y prediction. And finally we are checking our final accuracy with the help of testing accuracy. I am saying initially this is a training accuracy here, and here we are checking the testing accuracy and loss. So testing accuracy is 38%. It is coming 38% here. We can check with the help of this instruction, print loss and print accuracy. So this is just a baby step project. This is the baby step project we are doing, because in order to understand how our algorithm is working, if directly you are jumping on the high end project, that is image classification, image detection, object detection, without knowing the working of neural network, without knowing the working of activation function, it is a dangerous step. Don't do that. So always remember that we have gone through a step-wise process by following this all architecture. And remember, you can take any architecture of the world, all are following this step only. That is, first create the model, compile the model, feed the model, evaluate the model, and run the prediction. That is the designing process of artificial neural network. CNN also, this is designing process, because CNN is a part of ANN. Okay, so this is the process we have gone through today, and we have predicted that our overall process, that we are having the accuracy based only 38%, very low accuracy. With such a low accuracy, we cannot go for the product. Otherwise, patient will die on the basis of our model. Very dangerous. Okay, so just I have explained this overall project to you on the basis of how we are using the architecture with the help of ANN process, and we have designed stepwise. And all these number are playing very important role here. We are not putting just blindly this number 30. From where this 30 came? Because total number of input columns are 30, so it is 30. And this 10, it is defined by user. You can change to 20 also, you can change to 15 also, and you can execute it and check the output. So this is a research part. That's why it is said that in the world, whenever we are doing the number of project in the world of deep learning and neural network, it is a research part. We can design according to us, and that is the process of deep learning now. So in this way, we are doing the project in deep learning. And another project I am going to show you, that is called as the phase and eye detection using OpenCV. Okay, phase and eye detection using OpenCV. OpenCV is the another library in the world of machine learning and deep learning. And this OpenCV library is used for image processing. Please note down. OpenCV library is used for image processing. And I'm going to explain you that how we are going to detect the face and eye with the help of OpenCV library. So what we are doing here again, we are importing the necessary library in this instruction. NumPy library, CV2 is the OpenCV library, import CV2. Matplotlib is used for observing the data visualization. So all this library we are importing, just run this instruction, and after it will take some time for execution. Now it is executed. Now I want to read the image because OpenCV library is used for image processing analysis. So I want to read the image with the help of OpenCV library. So what I am going to do, I am writing here CV2, which is called as OpenCV library, and I am going to read the images, and I am going to read my image only, arpit.jpg. And remember, this image and this file is in same folder. That's why I am directly writing arpit.jpg. Otherwise, we have to mention here path. And after that, I am checking the shape of my image. What is the shape of image? Always remember, image is nothing but a pixel value collection. Image is a two-dimensional light intensity function. So in the image, complete image is made of pixel. So we are having the rows and column, and that rows and column is this 510 rows and 526 column. So total number of pixel is 510 multiplied by 526. That is the total number of pixel in your image, and 3 indicating that 3 channel, because image is having the either black and white or image is either color image. So whenever we are having the color image, so we are having the red, green, blue analysis in the image processing. Okay, we are having the red, green, blue. So that's why it is showing 3, one for red, one for blue, and one for green. After executing this, we are reading our image arpit.jpg. In my image, total number of rows and column is this 510 and 526. Total number of rows means 510 pixels in the row and 526 pixels in the column. And you multiply together, you will get the overall process of the image with the 3-channel RGB. But in the world of OpenCV, we are going to read the image in BGR format, not RGB. BGR means blue, green, red. It is not reading in RGB. And if I want to show my image with the help of this library plot.imshow, so it is showing my image and it is bluish in color. It is in BGR format. So this is the image we are reading, and it is showing with the help of matplotlib library with plt.imshow. And with the help of this process, we are reading and showing the image, that is displaying the image. Reading the image and displaying the image. After displaying the image with the help of this process, whenever we are going for the further analysis, it is necessary to convert our image to the grayscale. It is necessary to convert our image to grayscale. So in this line, we are converting our image, that is IMG, to the grayscale with the help of this instruction cv2.color BGR to gray. As I already told you, in the world of OpenCV, we are going to read the image in the BGR format, not in the RGB format. So we are going to read in the BGR format. Now we are reading the image in the BGR format, and after that we are converting that BGR image to gray with the help of this instruction, and we are checking the shape of gray. Now you can observe here, channel are not available because grayscale means only one channel, blue. Grayscale is only one channel, that is black and white. So that is a grayscale here. Pixels are same, 510 and 526. Execute this. After executing this, our image is converted to grayscale, and whenever we are checking this gray, so it is going to show you the pixel value here, 248, 248, because in the grayscale image, your pixel values are in the range of 0 to 255. Always remember, pixel range are in the range of 0 to 255. So it is showing the pixel value here. Now, after that, if you want to see your grayscale image, so we are going to observe the grayscale image with the help of this functionality, plt.show grayscale image. and execute this. So you are getting the grayscale image. My image is converted to grayscale. So this is the process now. After that conversion to grayscale, finally we are performing our main task, that is called as the face detection and eye detection. So here we are using the Haar cascade attribute, or Haar cascade is one algorithm which is used for the feature extraction, and we are using the ready-made function here, that is Haar cascade frontal face dot xml and Haar cascade underscore I XML, because we are going to detect the face and eye in the image. So we are requiring the Haar cascade for face detection, and we are required a Haar cascade for eye detection. So we are importing from that CV2 library and Haar cascade and face cascade, eye cascade, and we are going to the two variable face and eye, and we are going to detect the face with the help of this instruction. And always remember, in the world of deep learning and machine learning, whenever we want to detect the face, so we want the area from where the face is starting, and we want to draw a bounding box here, and that bounding box coordinate is called as xywh, and we should have that boundary box calculation where our face is available. And remember, this all detection of face is taken care by this Haar cascade. We are ready made using this Haar cascade face detection, and we are detecting with the help of bounding box. And after running the bounding box, you can observe here face is detection now. So phase is detected with the help of four coordinate x, y, w, h. So that is the phase detection. And here again we are writing one code for phase detection and eye detection. It is not possible for me to explain the overall code. Just remember, this code is written for phase detection and eye detection, where we are detecting the eye by finding the region of interest. And after executing this cell, we are having the face detection and eye detection with the help of OpenCV library. So this is the process we people are doing in the world of deep learning and machine learning. And same thing, you can do any type of image processing with the help of OpenCV library. So this is called as the OpenCV library for the face and eye detection. Very ready-made, we are using the OpenCV library for the face and eye detection. So this is the process we people are doing in the world of deep learning. Similarly, we have cropped our image and we are detecting the eye with the help of this process, and that is available in the previous function only. We are cropping our face, and by cropping the face, only face and eye is available. So in this way we are doing the process. And finally we have written, and this is the beauty of Jupyter notebook, that means we are having the image in the same Jupyter notebook. We can analyze the image in the same Jupyter notebook, but in the other IDE like Spider and PyChart, the image is opening in the another window. But in the Jupyter notebook, it is possible to observe the images in the same process. Similarly, in this our project, that is this project of cancer detection, breast cancer detection, here we are inserting the image. This is the image, and I am explaining you because it is very easy for me to explain with the help of image. But whenever you are going for PyCharm and Spider, such type of analysis is not possible. We cannot insert the image in the PyCharm and Spider, but here in the Jupyter notebook we can insert the image. So this is the process. So we have detected the face and eye, and if you want to detect the image and face should be open in the another window, so don't write Matplotlib library. Matplotlib library is used for data visualization, and if you want that your images should be open in the another window where Matplotlib is not available at that time, I will show you how it is possible. So I am executing this cell again without the use of Matplotlib library. Okay, just a second, I will show you how it is going to open in the new window. Here I am not giving the Matplotlib library for visualization. After executing this cell, it is opening in the another window like this. After opening, it is looking like this, and it is detecting the face and eye. And after closing this, it is going to do the process. So in this way, we people are doing reading the image, displaying the image with the help of Matplotlib library. Then you are getting the image in the same Jupyter file. And if you are displaying the image without the Matplotlib library, so it is going to open in the another window. So that is the process of Matplotlib library. And we are detecting the face and images with the help of Haar cascade algorithm, which is used for feature extraction in our image, and it is used for the further analysis. So this is the process we people are following in the company. And we have observed today that two projects, one project is OpenCV. I have explained in the very fast way because in order to understand this overall process, you should have that level of understanding. And finally, our main task is this today. That is our main task. What we have performed in our main task, we have performed the task of breast cancer detection. where we have performed the task. That means we have uploaded the data set ready-made from this library sklearn. After uploading the data set, we have divided the data set into input variable and output variable, and we have given that input variable to x underscore data, output variable to y underscore data. Column name we have given to the COLS variable, and finally we have converted that input variable and column name to the data frame with the help of this instruction, and we are observing the data frame. So this is the data frame look like this. This is all the features of breast cancer detection. Here every column is having certain meaning that we people don't know right now, because we don't know the meaning of how breast cancer is happening. That's what I said you people, whenever in the company we are doing any project, so we require the help of domain expert. So remember always, we require the help of domain expert. So this is the only input columns available. So total number of input columns are 30. We have observed that. And finally, we have given the output variable to the another column we are creating our data set, that is called as class, and we are giving the output column to that new column created with the help of this instruction. And finally, we are again observing our data set, and we can know that in our complete final output column is the class column. And depending on this class column, we are saying that this is a classification problem, because output is only available in the range of 0 and 1 only. Either the output is 0, either the output is 1. If the output is 0, then we can say the patient is having not a breast cancer, and if output is 1, then we can say that patient is having breast cancer. And you can check the unique number of category in the output column with the help of this instruction. And then we have done the train test split with the help of sklearn library. And finally, we have designed the ANN with the help of this process. And this is our main part. I have explained you from scratch how we are designing the ANN. Always remember, for designing the ANN, two approaches are there. One is sequential, one is functional. So if you want to design the sequential approach, so we are importing the sequential package, and then we are designing the sequential approach. And in this way, we are designing the sequential approach by importing the sequential package from the Keras library, and then we are giving the sequential to this variable called model. Now model is having all the property of sequential, and then we are going for designing our architecture with the help of Keras library. So this is the process. So this process we did today, that we have designed the layer with the help of Keras library, and we have gone through the designing process. How many input layers are there? So input layers are totally depend on total number of feature available in your data set. So in our data set, total number of features, that means input columns are 30. Hence, at the input layer, 30 neurons are available. What is this 10? 10 is the number of neuron in the first hidden layer. That is 10 is decided by user, but 30 is cannot decided by user. 30 is dependent on input variable, that is input column. 10 is decided by user. Again, in the second hidden layer, we are giving the 10 neuron. Third hidden layer, we are giving the 10 neuron. And you can observe in on the hidden layer, we are giving ReLU as an activation function, because it is said that giving the ReLU as an activation function in the hidden layer is always optimizing your model. And at the output, we are giving the another activation function, either sigmoid and softmax, depending on our problem statement. Whenever we are having the binary classification problem, use the sigmoid activation function at the output layer always. And whenever we are having the probabilities, that means we want to have an image classification of 10 category, then we can go for softmax function. In this way, we are designing the process. This is the alternative coding. We can write the activation function in the same coding. So we have designed that. Finally, we have compiled the model by applying all the parameter. Our matrix evaluation matrix will be accuracy. We are calculating the binary cross entropy loss. We are having the optimizer as the HGD. Optimizer are used to optimize the weight and biases value. And finally, we are having the model summary. What model summary information is given to us? Layer wise, how many trainable parameter available, and finally in the overall architecture, how many trainable parameters are there. Majority time I am saying that always remember, trainable parameters are nothing but weight and biases. Okay, trainable parameters are weight and biases, because your value of weight and biases are deciding the prediction. At the starting lecture today, I have explained you how that weight and biases is, how that weight value is deciding that we are going to purchase the shirt or not. Okay, so that is the process. And finally, we have gone through the process of fitting the model, where we are training our architecture with the help of our data set, that is X train and Y train. And always remember, this process takes a lots of time. That's why we require the GPU in our processor. GPU processor is available, then this process is taking fast. If you're having the CPU processor and if you're giving the huge volume of data set for training and training process, then it will take a lots of time. So this is the process we have gone through. Model.fit means it is training, and number of epoch means what? Epoch means 50. Suppose let's take in your data set 100 data points are there, 100 data points. Total number of data points are 100, and epoch meaning is what? 100 data set is going forward propagation, 100 data point is coming backward propagation. So this is called as one epoch. Again, in the second epoch, 100 data set is going forward propagation, 100 data set is coming backward propagation in the second epoch. So it indicates that in two epoch, 200 times you are sending the forward propagation and backward propagation. That is the meaning of epoch. So that we have observed training process. And after having the training, we are observing the evaluation of our overall model with the help of evaluation matrix. And we are observing the evaluation in this process. We are predicting the process and we are evaluating the testing process. So we are getting the testing accuracy and loss. And we can say that finally our loss is 9.89 and our testing accuracy is 38. Don't worry, this is not a real project, just a baby step project. We can increase this accuracy by giving the number of data set also, because our data set is very less. So in this way, we people are working in the world of deep learning. This is the baby step project. By understanding this overall process, then only we can go for the hard project or other project. Because as I said, in the company you will get a job in the better understanding of mathematical analysis behind the scene. Always remember, don't go for the fast process and don't skip any process, because yesterday I explained you one process also. What is that process? If you want to learn any project in the world of deep learning and machine learning in the very easy way, so you want to follow this rule, and that rule is this. That rule is this, very simple. Understand the working of first biological neuron, then understand the working of artificial neuron called perceptron, understand the meaning of weight bias and activation function. I haven't explained you activation function in my workshop. Whenever you will learning the activation function having so many interview question. What is the mathematical function of activation function? Because all that back propagation are totally depend on activation function. There are two types of problem we are getting in the back propagation, that is gradient descent, exploding gradient descent and vanishing gradient descent. This is the favorite interview question. Vanishing gradient descent means what? All weights are going to zero. That is your neural network is not learning. All that process we have to learn stepwise. If I will be explaining that all process, then I could not able to explain this baby step project. So this is the process we are doing, and you are following this rule regulations. You are getting the quality analysis, and then surely you are going to do the project by yourself. So follow these steps in the sequence. Surely you will get the quality learning. So that's all about my today's session. If you are having any doubt,